Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Inga Cotton. I'm the founder and executive director of San Antonio Charter Moms, and this is Charter Moms Chats, and we're gearing up for enrollment season. And so today on all our channels, we've been featuring our updated enrollment guide for Valor San Antonio. And so to have a conversation about Valor San Antonio, let me introduce our guests. So next to me on the screen is Dr. Mark Discher, and he is the headmaster of Valor San Antonio. And then at the bottom of the screen, we have Randi Haldenwang, and she is the assistant headmaster of Lower School at Valor San Antonio. So I'm really excited to get to have a conversation with you guys about Valor San Antonio. I've been cheering for you guys and watching the school get established, and now you're in year 2, and you get to share even more about how the unique Valor San Antonio school community is developing.
Well, great. Thank you for having us, Inga. It's really an honor to be here. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much.
No, my pleasure. So for folks who are not familiar with Valor, can you guys explain about what is the mission and vision of Valor Education and Valor San Antonio in particular?
Great question. Thank you. So at Valor San Antonio, well, the vision statement of Valor is to educate the whole person in authentic communities of friendship for a full human life. That's what we're about. That's what we seek to do. The way we usually cash that out here at Valor San Antonio, people ask, what are you fundamentally doing? Because every educational institution has an aim, a telos, a goal, something that it seeks to accomplish, whether that is to provide a very good technological and mathematical education, STEM education, or whether that's to get people into college, or whether it's to get people into Yale and Harvard, or whatever the case may be. There's always an aim in mind. What is our aim? Our aim is to create happy human beings. So let me flesh that out a little bit. What do we mean by a happy human being? We mean a human being that lives a life of virtue and a life of wonder. So it's deep in the classical tradition, Plato, starting really with Plato and Aristotle, or you could go back to the Hebrew scriptures and other scriptures as well around the world. It's deep in these classical texts, the emphasis upon virtue, the emphasis upon moral goodness, because the idea is that moral goodness is what leads to happiness. It leads to a happy life. So what we're fundamentally aiming at doing is helping students to see that if they bully, if they're mean, if they gossip about people when they leave the room, if they appropriate to themselves things that belong to other people, if they do these things regularly, they won't have deep friendships. They won't have deep relationships. Anybody not want to have friends? They all say they do. Well, then this is the way to get what you say you want to make a happy life. And we bathe this in a background of seeking to live a life of wonder. The world is literally a wonderful place. It's full of wonder. To look at a leaf and to ponder how it is that photosynthesis takes place. How does it take sunlight and turn it into sugar and make it food? I mean, these are mysteries, and to deepen ourselves in these mysteries and to seek to go deeper in understanding, we take seriously the oracle's injunction to Socrates, gnothe se auton, know thyself. And we believe that the human person is an infinite depth of wonder in and of himself, herself, and that these are things that should be reflected upon and pondered, and that knowing our place in the wonder that we are in the world is an amazing thing. We care very deeply about the integrity and the importance of each individual human person. We take every human person as unique, irrepeatable, and virtually of infinite value. So we love the kids. We seek their good. That's fundamentally what we're doing here, because we want them to be happy and whole and lead good lives. And they may go to Yale too. That's fine. And they really very well may if they succeed at traversing our curriculum. So that's not a worry at all. But it's not fundamentally what we're doing. We're up to something a little different.
Yeah, I just want to get a comment and reflect because Mark, you're in this world all the time, but like it's really not that common in the world of education for people to talk about education in the terms that you're speaking about it. And to some extent, that's like I was just having a conversation about assessments and the state mandates for STAR testing and the A through F ratings and stuff. Which Valor is a public school. It's a free public school, and all those things apply, right? The state accountability system and the standardized testing. But what you guys offer is so much beyond that. And the terms about how you talk about it are so beautiful and so atypical in the world of education. So I just, like you're in this world every day. And so you may be used to it and you're not seeing the uniqueness of it. I just want to point out like how rare it is to hear people talk about education and your love for your students in those terms. I'm grateful for the classical education movement for creating environments for that. But I know it's not typical in the world of education.
Thank you, Inga. Take that as a great compliment. Appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess, Randy, did you want to also comment on mission and vision? Or I guess like my next question is I wanted to hear more about how the first year went, because Valor San Antonio is still such a new school.
Well, let me take that one, and then Randy's got a bunch that she'll answer, I'm sure. But I was reflecting on this question of what have been some of our challenges and some of our greatest successes. Well, the greatest challenge. Let me preface this and frame this way. At Valor, we care a lot about order. We care a lot about order. So we believe that our classrooms must be ordered in order for the kind of deep and rich learning, reading these primary sources of classical texts. If students are going to access this well, if they're going to do this well, they cannot be burdened by the worry that staplers are going to come zooming across the room and the like. So the room has to be ordered. And it's not like a prison camp. That's not what we're after, because we're after the joy and we're after the wonder. We truly want students to embrace a really rich and full human life, which is why we offer a whole panoply of various extracurricular activities too. And maybe Ms. Haldenwang could talk about those in a bit. But so order is really important. Well, when we opened our doors to the community, most of our kids had been coming from environments where this is just not a thing, or it's not a thing taken seriously. Let's put it that way. In most instances, many instances. So it was a real challenge to get students to comport themselves like Valor students. That was a very difficult thing, and Randy and I and our other assistant headmaster, John Fowler of the upper school, we employed ourselves to this effect for virtually the entire first semester. We were like three deans, and we were trying to help kids, to point them in the direction of virtue, so that they could achieve the things that will make them happy in life. I'll just give another quick example. So, we say that the intellect is ordered to truth. It's ordered to truth, and that apprehending something important that's true is satisfying to the intellect in the way that a good meal is satisfying to the digestive system. So, knowledge is good. Take two people, A and B, all other things equal. One is knowledgeable, clear-headed, and informed, and the other is muddle-headed, confused, and ignorant. Ask a student, which would you rather be? Who has the happier life? All of the things equal. Same spouse, same house, same income, same dog. Everything's the same. Which would you rather be? Well, A, I'd rather be informed and then do your homework. It'll make you happy, and it will fulfill you as a human being and give you the kind of life that you want for yourself and that we deeply want for you. So that was hard, establishing that culture and that order. I will say that we have done it in spades. And our school is very beautiful and very peaceful. And people ask us sometimes, they'll ask me, well, what is your anti-bullying program? And I say, the school. The whole thing is an anti-bullying program. That's just who and what we are and what we do. So that was a great big challenge. There are lots of other ones I could mention, like the building. It's 93,000 square feet, and we're on 11 and a half acres. We haven't filled out the whole building yet. We are right now holding at about 340 students or so, but we will fill it one day, and that's where we're headed. But we still have to maintain it, and it's a lot. So there are lots of challenges that go along with that. But getting the student order, getting the school to look like Valor San Antonio is meant to look, that was a big challenge and a great success because we did it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and you're working with students who have been in a lot of other different learning environments, including, they spent time at home during the pandemic too. So,
They did.
yeah, this
Yeah,
is a
there was
unique group of
that.
kids.
Yeah. So they came from all over, all kinds of different backgrounds. And, we are within the ring of the 410. So we're in the city. And a lot of us, including my own family, including Randi's family, both parents work. And so kids aren't always accustomed to being held to the standards of order of an adult being around all the time. So that was a challenge. But boy, the school looks great. Thanks in large measure to the work not only of myself but of Miss Haldenwang and Mr. Fowler and all the
Yeah, yeah,
teachers. There's a lot of buy-in. Our teachers really love the mission and vision of Valor and Valor San Antonio, and they believe it, and they sacrifice on behalf of it. They're not in it for the money. So they're here because they care, and they want to do this, and this is important to them. They want to be in a place like this and do this thing. So kudos to them all. They're really unsung heroes.
yeah. Well, that's actually a good segue to my next question. Like, I think part of what I imagine Valor teachers feel about teaching at Valor San Antonio is they get to teach in the classical tradition. But I know from my experience, like when my kids were younger, they were at a classical education school that it was definitely an adjustment and a culture shock for families who were used to what's happening in typical neighborhood public schools to then encounter the environment of a classical education school, like reading different types of books and the different customs and habits and high expectations and but I was wondering, can you comment more about like what is classical education, and then like how do you bring that to life, like in the core subjects, like the reading and writing and math?
Yes, I would love to take that question. The core classics, our classics list that we focus on, is really the heart of our classical curriculum. So students, for example, in kindergarten will read The Velveteen Rabbit. In third grade, they'll read Stuart Little. In fifth grade, they'll read A Midsummer Night's Dream by Shakespeare. In seventh grade, they read The Hobbit. In eighth grade, they'll read the narrative of Life of Frederick Douglass. And there are so many different ones. I wish I could read them all because it's so hard to just pick a few. In ninth grade, they just finished reading The Story of My Life by Keller. And then right now we go through ninth grade, but in 12th grade, they read Dante and Chaucer and Shakespeare and Aquinas. There's just so many great classical books that they get to read. And I wish I could read them all. I had a really hard time just picking a few. And then as well as reading poetry. All of our students memorize poetry. One of the ones that I really love to listen to is our fourth graders. They read, and it's quite a long poem, is Paul Revere's Ride. So if you're familiar with that, it's quite a feat for them to memorize the entire thing, and to see them accomplish that task is quite impressive. Even our little bitty ones, they are so excited. They come home. I have a little one as well, and they read poetry. One of the poems our kindergartners read, it's an anonymous poem called I'm Glad. And it's just such heartwarming poems that they read. And they're so excited to share that. When any visitor comes into the classroom, they just stand up and share their poetry. And so that's something that we do here at Valor San Antonio. And other things that they do here in the lower school, we use Spalding curriculum. And that's something that we put a lot of time and effort into. We spend a lot of time training our teachers to teach this explicit phonics instruction. And really the heart of that is the students learning phonograms. And those are kind of the building blocks of both reading and writing. And when they learn these phonograms, they're able to access these higher texts so that they can decode these bigger words that come with these classical texts. And so learning this Spalding program is really important to our curriculum. And as I said, we spend a lot of time training our teachers because this is a scientific way of teaching reading, and it's explicit in the way that we teach it. And our teachers go through an extensive training process in order to be really good at teaching this program. And then our math, we use Singapore math. So for anybody who's done a lot of research in math, it's one of the world's best math programs. The Singapore curriculum is something that students across the world score very highly in. And the model that's used in this program is concrete pictorial abstract. So our students start with concrete hands-on manipulatives and then move to a pictorial model and then on to an abstract model. And what's really great about it is that kids learn how to master concepts. They understand the why of what they're doing and not just rote memorization. So they're able to take these previously taught concepts and apply them to their new learning. And that's what really makes Singapore special.
Yeah, Randi, thank you so much for explaining in so much detail about the different types of curriculum. Because and I'm just gonna step back and like broader, like if anyone is listening, maybe you're researching multiple schools, like including Valor, hopefully. But these are great questions to ask when you're on a school tour or an information night, and pin them down, ask explicitly, like, okay, what are you using for math? What are you using for reading? And they should be able to give an answer like what it was Haldenwang did, which is like it should be a reading and writing curriculum that's based on the science of reading that explicitly uses phonics, because as she mentioned, that's the toolkit that lets kids unlock more challenging reading, so that even if they encounter a word they've never seen before, they can sound it out, they can make sense of it. And then that's the key. Like the more fluent they get, then you listed the core classics. These are challenging books, and like sometimes parents are surprised, like, wait, you're having them read this, but then when they're able to recite the poetry, just like the confidence that they get from that, like it unlocks a sense of power that they can have and a way to communicate that's like, you'd be like, well, that's weird, that's old fashioned, why are you doing that? But like when you see how happy the kids are when they're able to do it successfully, it's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and speaking of poetry, may I just add, we spent some $16,000 on classical art prints that don our walls all around the school, all throughout the school. We think this is so important because what students are exposed to, what they behold and what they hear is what they become, and what they become habituated to and used to. And it sets in them a kind of standard for themselves and for those around them that's elevated and sophisticated and beautiful. And that's what's so what's so important about the poetry is that many of these poems, and they're carefully selected, are designed to be poems that students memorize when very young, that fire the moral imagination, that help them to see the world importantly in terms of their own good and the good of others around them. And many of these little kids won't fully grasp the meaning of this poetry presently, but they'll have this internalized and memorized, and they'll reflect on it in later years, and they'll realize that poem now means so much more to me than it did. And just to expose them to the beauty of that kind of usage of the English language, because we want them to write well and to speak well and to think well. And so all of this is part of the package of forming what we believe are happy and whole human beings.
Yeah. Well, and Mark, you talked about like they're reading beautiful poems, they're internalizing it, they're memorizing it. It'll be part of their mental equipment all through life. But it's not just poetry, it's also like the books they read, but also like the science and history. And so like they're building up this body of knowledge that will help them to continue to decode not just the sounds in the words that they read, but the more context, the more knowledge they have, the better able they are to unlock more challenging texts, right? Because they're building up this body of knowledge.
Sure. And mathematics is itself its own independent language. And so we want them to know that language as well. So even though we're known for and we may perhaps emphasize the reading of great texts and great books, philosophy, literature, and history, primarily in the Western tradition, we're not only doing that. Students who go through our curriculum will have a full year of physics, a full year of chemistry, a full year, at least one full year of calculus, maybe two, depending on how they track, a full year of biology. So it's not as though we eschew STEM or that sort of thing at all. We want them to have all of it. And this is why we have music and art as part of our curriculum as well. In a day when it's kind of fashionable to cut those programs because they are expensive, we would no more do that than we would cut English language arts or mathematics. This is constitutive of a full, rich, good human life. And that and nothing less than that is what we seek for our kids. And when I say our kids, I mean our kids. Randi has 2 kids here. I have 3 kids here. We have skin in the game. We're serious about this.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. Y'all did a great job addressing, core subjects and counting art and music as core subjects. But I wanted to ask y'all about the things like like athletics, community service, extracurriculars. Like I know there's plans to have a garden, right? I don't know the status of I know you guys have so much space. I don't know how much. Anyway, so can y'all comment on like those things in addition to the core subjects and how Valor San Antonio addresses that?
Yes, I can do that as well. Yes, on Fridays, we have our nature study program. So each year it changes, the curriculum changes. And on Fridays, our lower school students get to go outside and study nature. Last year, we were able to begin that process, but this year we're hoping to expand it as well. And in our nature study, we're going to be studying this year. Our focus of study is on cultivated crops in the fall and weather and climate in the winter and insects in the spring. So those are kind of the areas of focus this year. And every year it'll change and we'll have new areas to focus on. But those are kind of the areas that we're focusing on in lower school this year that we're really excited to learn about. And so we get to go out every Friday and kind of just have a slower pace and just kind of be excited about the wonder of nature and all that it has to share with us. And so it's just a kind of time to just slow down and just enjoy life and nature. And that's what we like to do on Fridays during our science time. So we do our regular science Monday through Thursday, but on Fridays, it's a little bit of a different pace. And so we enjoy the wonder of science and the world. And then when we go to upper school, we continue that love of nature. And so this October, later in October, our 9th graders are going on their wilderness expedition. And so they've been working really hard to raise their funding for that. And they are going to be going to Moab, Utah, and be spending a whole week camping out in Moab, Utah, and just working on community and friendships and learning how to live in nature. And so that's something that they're really excited about. That's our freshman class this year. So that's a continuation of our nature program and really getting involved in nature and real life out there in the wilderness. Other things that we get to do, the students' athletic program, our athletic director let me know that we now have 10 different teams of various sports that we have in our second year. And he's let me know that since last year, in our inaugural year, we've doubled our participation this year from last year. So our athletics team is thriving with 10 different teams as of now. And our liberal arts program is doing very well. We have our music and art night every year. And so that's an opportunity for our students to showcase the art that they worked on throughout the year and their talents with the music teacher. And so we have that each year. And it's just been really exciting for the parents to get to come and see all the things that the students are working on. So that's another thing that they've worked on. And one of the things I'm really excited about that happens just, it's kind of not as an official program, but I find it really exciting is some of our lower school students, but many of our upper school students, during lunchtime, they are invited and they really love it. They get to come. We have a piano in our cafeteria, and they get to play the piano for the students. And it's just a really lovely time. They're playing classical music on the piano, and it just makes it a very soothing and calm environment. And so that's something that we really value here, is the classical music and their participation in enjoying that and sharing that with their peers. So that's been something that's really exciting that I enjoy doing with them.
Yeah, that's beautiful though. That's a lot of examples, and also like you guys should be really proud of the amount of progress you've made, year over year, in terms of getting more participation, adding more programs, being able to. I know y'all have mentioned this, but like for folks who haven't driven by Valor, right? I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, wait, it's an office building, but there is a lot of land around it, right? And like offices work for classrooms, and I know it's a process of like transforming the campus to what it will someday be. But I think, yeah, you guys are making the most of the space you have.
We are. Thank you for noticing that and recognizing that, Inga. And we do have big plans. When precisely these plans will be realized, we don't know. It depends on the rate of growth of the school, which no one can predict. But yeah, we do have plans for a full football and soccer field out here on the south end of the campus. And I would love to have a ball diamond down in the corner. It would be perfect for it. And we do plan to build a full gymnasium out here on this side of the lot. Like I say, we have 11 and a half acres. We have a lot of space. So all of this is in the offing eventually. It's hard to get the word out about us. A lot of people tell me, gosh, when I talk about the school, they say, you guys are the best kept secret. And I say, well, yeah, help us get the word out, help people to know, because there are plenty of people that we would love to have be part of our community who are undoubtedly looking for it. So if we're the right kind of thing for you, if we're what you're looking for, and we seem like we'd be a good fit for you and your family, well, we welcome you with open arms and open hearts.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I want to ask, continuing on the theme of the campus and the facilities, but also like the community that's forming. Can y'all share about some of the community events that you have on campus? And I know there's one coming up in November, correct?
Yes, one of our upcoming events is our Fall Fest. We did this last year and it was amazing. We had so many parents and families come out. It was a wonderful time. And we have it coming up again on November 15th for our families. Our event is going to really highlight all the things we have to offer here. I know some of the activities will have goldfish, which were a huge hit last year. The kids loved it, and we all went home with goldfish.
I still have one.
It is hanging on.
It won't die.
We all went home with goldfish. There was wonderful food, face painting, pumpkin pie, games, prizes. It was just a wonderful celebration. Everybody had a great time. The kids just really had a blast. So if you are a part of our community or would like to join our community, you're welcome to come out on November 15th and take home some goldfish. Some of the other events that we've had in the past that we hope to have again are Grandparents' Day. So for Grandparents' Day, it was great. We had some different presentations from our students. They presented and did some things for our grandparents, and our grandparents got to do some planting in one of our flower beds with their grandkids. Some other events were Valor Games. So the kids got to really, what was really neat about that is that the different grade levels got to work together as a team. So our upper school students got to work with even down to our kindergarten students and work as a community and work to win different games and things like that. It was so much fun. And then one of the things I'm very excited about is every grade level does a curriculum celebration. So based on the classical text that they read, each grade level has a curriculum celebration. So for example, one of the ones we had in third grade was one on Stuart Little, and all of the kids had, they wore their little sailor hats and they had boat races. We created little boats and they blew boats down troughs, having boat races and participating in different academic themed events based on the book Stuart Little. So every class had something like that. And one of the different groups, they got to experiment in, it was a garden. And so they got to bring different types of vegetables and try all different types of vegetables from the garden that they had maybe never tried before. And some of the kids really discovered some new vegetables that they liked and some they didn't like. So, but it was a great opportunity for them to have that exposure to things that maybe they've never been exposed to before. So it was just a lot of fun, and every grade level gets to do a different curriculum celebration. So that's something that I really enjoy here at Lower School. And then we also have our Fiesta Family Night. We do that right around Battle of Flowers, around Fiesta in April. And we had a great night. It was a movie night, a Fiesta themed, that we had a great turnout for. So that will be in the spring.
And that's open to the whole community. We open our doors to neighbors and friends who want to come along and have a hot dog and nachos and watch a movie and use the bouncy house and whatever.
Yeah. So these are all some really fun events.
I just want to comment. This is my excuse to plug the blog. So like y'all sent over some great new photos, and so we updated the enrollment guide blog post, and one of the pictures was from the Stuart Little curriculum celebration. It has I was looking at it, I was like, I think that's a boat. I wonder. So now I know like the context for that picture, and what a great way, because it then I mean, instructional time is really important, but you also want the kids to have fun, and if you can tie it in with the curriculum, then that makes it so much more meaningful. So I think it's just a great approach. Like, they're kids, they want to have fun, but you also want to always remind them that it ties in with literature and learning. Like, these are tools towards leading a better life and being good people, like what Mark was talking about at the very beginning, to tie it back to the mission.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And the joy is really important to us, because one of the deepest joys that's kind of our culture doesn't really set us up to appreciate, that is the joy, just the sheer joy of wondering at the world and learning and deepening one's understanding of oneself and the world around. So reading great texts is a great joy to come to deeper insights about the human condition and to learn about the world and the people in it is a great joy. But it's also good to get out and build boats and race them and hunt goldfish in the little bowls and do all these other things as well. It's all part of the package.
Yeah. So, well, one of my favorite parts about these conversations is just giving y'all, open time to share, stories, because we can talk about, oh, this is the address, these are the grade levels served, this is the data, but like the stories, bring it to life. And that's, I hope the families listening to this, that these stories will resonate and spark their curiosity, to learn more about Valor. And we'll get to that too, like how they can ask for information, how they can visit campus and stuff. But I want each of y'all to share, stories that you feel like demonstrate, like, oh, this is Valor San Antonio culture in action.
Oh, I'll give you one, and maybe while I'm relaying this one, Ms. Haldenwang, you can think of one. We had in the upper school, we have had a number of students with significant challenges. We have a student in a wheelchair, for example, and we've had students with significant learning disabilities and physical disabilities. Well, one young boy, he had a very difficult time with motor skills, and he had some disease where there was an atrophying of the muscles, and he was quite weak. And he had never held a bat before. And out at PE, one of our upper school students, who, when he first came to us at the beginning of the year last year, he was too cool for his own shoes. He was just all that in a bag of chips. He's a very fine athlete, so he gets lots of kudos for that and lots of recognition for that, and is a little puffed up over that. Well, after spring break in the second semester, that's about the time this young boy that I'm speaking of with the special needs joined us, and they went out to PE, and they were playing baseball of some sort of stick ball, and the boy had never held a bat before. He'd never physically held a bat, and so this star athlete, Mr. Popular Guy, he took this boy under his wings and actually stood behind him and showed him how to hold the bat and helped him to swing it and helped him to actually connect and hit a ball. And this was a big deal. This was so important to this young man. And when I think of this story, that's what it's about. That's who we are. That's a real success. We have another story with a boy in the wheelchair, where similar kind of story, where some of the older boys who are big athletes and the like, they push him around and they accompany him in the elevator and they make sure that he's okay in the bathroom and take care of his needs, get him, make sure he's got good lunch to eat and that everything is okay with him. And they'll just tend him and take care of him throughout the day. And they do it with joy. And they do it with a generous spirit that is makes it worth getting out of bed in the morning.
Oh. Well, I'm thinking about something you mentioned earlier, which is like, part of the core beliefs that like every life is significant, every life is meaningful. And, your stories show that coming to life. And it's not just an idea that the faculty has, it's something that like the students are living, right? And the older students can model this for younger students, and they might be discovering things in themselves that they didn't even realize. Instead of just being an athlete, it's like, no, you're also a leader and a mentor and a caring person, and adding this to the school environment.
Yeah. And that builds friendship, and it builds trust, and it builds community, and it builds happiness that makes for a better place to be and to live and move and have our being, such as we do here for 8 hours a day. And that's what we want. And we want students to feel that and to internalize that and to make that part of who they are and to carry that forward into the world, because we need civility and we need goodness and we need the ability to sit around a table and discuss important books and ideas and political ideas in a civilized way with respect and kindness. Isn't that what we need? And we do all of this without a lot of technology, because we don't want to see this. We want to see this. We want to see faces, and we want to hold books and papers in our hands and experience the age-old traditions of reading carefully and reading together and thinking closely and arguing for a position in a civilized and respectful way.
Yeah, these are skills that persist. Technology comes and goes, but the reading, the thinking, the caring, the reasoning, that will never go out of style.
Exactly.
Yeah. Randi, do you want to share some stories?
Sure. I think some of my best stories, obviously you have, the stories of kids helping each other. You have kids learning to tie their shoes in lower school, and the other ones jump in and say, oh, I can do it. I can help you. And they're always helping each other out with the little things like that. But some of my greatest stories, I have one child in particular who, didn't have the greatest background and early start in life, but has been given a great opportunity thus far at home, and have the greatest, most wonderful parents now. And they're just so wonderful and so supportive, and they're such partners with us. And that's really what we look for, is we want to be partners with parents in their child's education. And it's so important for us to be on the same page and work with parents and be their partner. And we work together so well. We are able to call and talk through problems. And when this particular child would struggle and maybe have an attitude or roll eyes or make the wrong choice, we had a lot of conversations in that first year with parents, and they were just always so supportive and so on board with everything that we were trying to do. And this year, there's been so many less conversations we've had to have in that manner. And whenever there has been conversations like that, he's just making those good choices. When he makes mistakes, he's ready to oh, I need to apologize and I need to write an apology letter. He's just automatically making those great choices because, he still makes mistakes, and that's okay. But he knows that whenever he makes those mistakes, he's ready to make those apologies and make better choices. And it's just been such a great improvement and great progress from where we started a year ago at this time. And that happens because of, obviously, we have great teachers, but because we have great partnerships with parents. And because of that partnership and that support that we have from parents at home, we're able to make such progress with some of our students.
And I'm really glad you said that, Ms. Haldenwang, because that is a key. That is a key part of our model. Is that we really believe that parents are the primary educators of their children. Parents aren't turning their kids over to us. Well, they are in a certain sense, but the parents are the primary educators of the kids, and far be it from us to try to remove the kids from the parents. Or over my dead body, it will just never be the case that at Valor San Antonio we're telling secrets or keeping secrets with your child against the parents. Don't tell the parents or something like that. That's just not the case. Parents know their children better than we do, and they understand them better, and we ask for their help in helping them to grow in the ways that we want to see them grow. All of us do together. So we respect very much the role and the rights of parents as the primary educators of their children.
Yeah. Well, Mark, you're speaking my language, because that's like our goal at SA Charter Moms is to be the trusted information source for parents so that they can make a choice about what's the right learning environment for their kids. But I want to reflect also on something that Randi said. I think sometimes parents I guess, Mark, you talked about the journey over the first year the school opened, as far as helping students understand the behavior expectations, like how to act like a Valor San Antonio student, and that they had to learn a different set of norms for the Valor campus that was different than maybe what they're allowed to do at home or what they're allowed to do at their other campus. But it's I think parents sometimes, when they come to a well-established classical education school and they see how the kids behave, and they think, oh, my kid can never act like this. But I think it's important what Randi's story, which is that, like, children come as they are, right? They come, whatever experience they've had or not had in their early childhood or at their previous school, and then they're able to soak up and participate in the norms of the school, and they're able to evolve and grow, and then they become a Valor San Antonio student. But they're not expected to show up like that. And parents shouldn't feel like just because their child is not already a perfect angel at home, then that means they won't fit in at a classical education school. It's like you said, it's the parent is the primary caregiver. The school comes alongside and establishes a set of norms, and then this is going to equip the children through their high school, through college, through their career, to be able to function in a lot of environments. Kids who've come through a classical education environment, they act like grown-ups. They have poise, like they can ace an interview, they can present a thesis defense. They have this bigger skill set that's going to unlock a lot of possibilities for them down the road. And maybe it starts with, holding the bubble when they're a kid. It's just as hard as that is.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point, Inga. We love the kids and take them where they are. We don't have any entrance requirements. They don't have to write an essay or sit through an interview or eat at a table. We're not assessing their manners, their mannerisms. They come as they are. And what we do ask for are two things. We ask that the students are respectful of other students, of themselves primarily, and of the faculty of the school. So we do demand that there is that level of respect. Then we can work with the student, and we'll be patient, and we'll help them, and we'll take them from where they are to where we can bring them. And that's the first thing. The second thing is that we ask for the cooperation of the parents. When a child has just reached a certain point where they can't be in the classroom, and they're sent multiple times to the hall for resets, and it's not working, we ask the parents, please come and collect your child. You are the primary educator of the child, and it's not working here. So we just need a reset. If we could go home and we could talk this through and you could support us and help the child to understand that it's important to respect the policies, procedures, and especially the people of the school, then you can come back and we'll do this again, and we'll do that until we get it. We just ask for that cooperation, a certain degree of cooperation from the student himself, herself, and the parent.
Yep. Yeah, but it's like I don't want to end on that note about discipline though, because what it is about creating like an orderly environment so that the kids aren't distracted by behavior issues. They can all focus in on the teacher, and they can seminar, and they can talk with each other about what they're reading, like not
That's
necessarily
the goal.
about what's happening in pop culture, but they can like create the peace in their environment so that they can deal with the really complex issues in what they're reading or the math problems that they're working on.
Yeah, so they can be safe and they can flourish and be successful. That's the goal.
Yeah, yeah. And it shouldn't be radical, but in this environment, it kind of is, like, to aspire to create an environment like that. And that's why I'm so glad that there's such a wide range of learning models and school models across San Antonio, so that I just want families
Thank
to
you,
know
Inga,
about
for
this
making
option.
that happen. I mean, that's largely due to you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope that families listening to this are curious and excited and they want to learn more. And, but like, as Mark said, the digital has its limitations. Like, I really want parents to go to, like Randy was talking about, go to Fall Fest, but also like go on a school tour, right? You guys have, so what are some ways that, that families can, dive deeper, like get an in-person experience with Valor?
Absolutely. So a great place to go is obviously our website, because that will lead you to all of the in-person opportunities that you have. So our website is www.valoreducation.org/Valor San Antonio. And if you go on our website, you're of course going to find an abundance of information about our classical curriculum and how to enroll. But you'll also be able to find a link to sign up for every Wednesday morning. We have tours beginning at 9:30 each Wednesday for parents to explore Valor in person. These tours are often led by Headmaster Discher. And then we also have Wednesday evening open houses. These will be held about every 3 weeks or so. So once we have those up and running, those will be posted on our website as well for you to sign up for those in the evenings if you can't make the 9:30 tours. But the tours during the school day are really a great way to see Valor in action. You can go into the classroom, see the teachers teaching. So that's a really great opportunity if you can go see the school tours. Another option, if you are not able to get online or technology is not a great thing for you, you can call our front office and speak to our registrar and see about enrolling that way, or ask about any opportunities that you can come in as well. And they can help direct you through the website. But our phone number to the front office is 210-903-0383.
That's great. Yeah, thank you. That's some key information. Also, so in the blog post we have a link. So this is too much to type in, but yeah, there's an email address that takes you to the registrar, right? So info.sanantonio@valoreducation.org. But yeah, but like Randy said, the website is full of information. But yeah, calling the front desk. But I really encourage families, who are doing school research. Like, you really need to meet the people of Valor. Like, going to campus is ideal. I can confirm that Valor will be part of our School Discovery Day at the San Antonio Zoo on October 19th. So that'll be a chance to talk with Valor folks at the table. But really going to campus is really an essential experience. So I also want to mention about the open enrollment period, right? So it's October 1st is when it opens. So that's in a couple weeks. And then it runs through the end of January. We have more explanation about this on the website or in the Facebook group. But like for charter schools, because seats are limited, it's better to apply during open enrollment and participate in the lottery rather than get added to a waiting list. But there are some grades where there are openings for the current school year. So families, they should just call the front desk, right, and find out
Yep.
if they want to make a switch during the current school year.
Yeah, there are some grade levels that have openings, right? Some do not. Some are closed for the time being. But we are in growth mode, and we certainly will be growing next year again. So now is the time while we're in expansion mode.
Yeah. And if anybody listening who happens to be in Austin or Kyle, right, North Austin, South Austin, there are many well-established Valor campuses in the Austin area as well. So,
right, that is correct. And those schools are in hot demand. There's, for every student in a seat in one of those schools, there's a student on a wait list looking for that chair once it's vacated. So yeah, that will be the case for us too, I'm sure. It's right now though, we're growing, so it's a good time to get in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So my advice, this applies to all schools. Start the research. Go on the school tours, go to the open house. October 1, get the application in. And then keep doing your research. But yeah, I hope families discover classical education as a learning model, and then discover that Valor San Antonio has such a very special school community, and we see so many positive comments about Valor in the Facebook group, from families who are they're just sharing that their positive experience. They're finding an environment that they didn't think was possible, but how happy their kids are, like what great stuff they get to learn about, how the school community is coming together. And I'm really proud of you guys. Mark, I remember when you came to town, you were new to San Antonio, and laying out this vision, and I've been cheering for you guys the whole way along.
Yeah, thank you so much, Inga. We're really grateful for all the good work that you do.
Yeah, and Randi, so good to meet you online. I hope to get to meet you in person. And please say hello to Mr. Fowler. He was a guest in the spring, talking about what it's like to be a teacher at Valor and teaching Latin and things like that. Okay, well, thanks, y'all. Take care, and I hope you have a great Fall Fest. I'm excited about that.
Thanks so much, Inga. Hope you can come back and visit the campus again soon. Lunch is on me. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.